This is Black of the Black Times Infinity. Kr0nus is here, along with your boy Blue. Everybody else is out. We have a couple of special guests on for this podcast. We have Will, Marcus, and Corey from Primus 7, which is owned by, I think it's Noir Caesar, right?
That is correct.
That's absolutely correct.
Awesome. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
What's up, fellas?
Not much. I'm Corey McKell. I'm the production manager over at Noir Caesar. I'm also the creator, writer of Space Pop, writer of Primus 7, writer of world famous Playboy. For Noir.
I guess I'll follow Corey. I'm Marcus Johnson. I work in concept development at Noir. I'm co-creator of Primus, creator of our title called Arms of the Dragon. I also co-write Primus, and I co-write Will's project called Try Again.
Awesome.
What's up, guys? This is Will Ill Brown. Everybody calls me Ill. I guess it's an affectionate thing. And I am the music director for Noir Caesar Entertainment, and I provide all of the dope backdrops that you hear on the Primus trailer and all of the content going forward. And I'm also the creator and co-writer of Try Again, which is a manga comic I'm working on along with Marcus and one of our writer buddies, John Lawrence. Shout out to John. What's up, bro?
Awesome.
Who also helps me co-write Arms of the Dragon. I got to add that in, too. Got to give my boy John some love, no doubt.
Got to give them credits. All right, so we first heard about Primus 7 when we were at the Crunchyroll Expo. And I think everybody at the expo had the similar experience. We were walking the floor, and all of a sudden we heard some dope-ass beats. And then we turned around, and then we saw this awesome anime. And I think everybody was pretty much amazed. It was like people were stopping and gathering around your booth. And then on the other side, I didn't know at first, but on one side you had the anime, and the other side you had the manga. And that was pretty dope. So let me ask you first, how did you guys come together to make Primus 7? Like, you guys, to me, came out of nowhere.
I can start it off, man, if you don't mind, Corey. I guess the glue to Primus was Johnny O'Brien, who was the founder of the company. He and one of his friends, Vaughn Alexander, started the process of beginning Primus. And then over time, they reached out to Will, reached out to myself. I was Johnny's high school teacher. We always have to tell this story. I was his high school teacher when he was like in the 9th grade, and he caught me reading One Piece scans.
Oh, nice.
and our friendship started there. So when he started the process, he came to me asking for feedback. So then I came on board. And then once we decided to go the manga route, we needed someone to oversee everything. And we found Corey, man. And Corey has been a blessing for us, man, because he holds everything together. And then Corey eventually also came on board with helping to kind of relaunch Primus. We started out, it's going through so many different iterations. And right now, Corey has added his flavor to it. And it's turned out to be something we're very proud of.
Awesome. It's good to hear.
Now, we kind of jumped into the questions, but can you kind of give like a little introduction of what Primus 7 is? For those that do not know.
Corey, your cue.
Corey, you want to take that one?
Story of Silva and Seven, who have been orphaned by a war that took place between the World Corporation and the Ajima clan. And they're in training and also in hiding from this dictator named Arthur Grove, who wants to steal their abilities and make sure that the Ajima clan never rise to actually liberate the people from his control.
Awesome. Primus 7 definitely looks like kind of like a cross between Boondocks and Afro Samurai, but it's on like steroids. Like the visualizations they're excellent. Can you explain what animation and musical influence the series has?
Yeah, I could take that one. I definitely think as far as the animation inspiration goes, definitely the aesthetic was a little bit of Boondocks, also a little bit of Samurai Champloo. Actually, I think was a major influence, and a little bit of Naruto as far as the character stylings go, except with an urban twist, of course. Yeah. And as far as the music. With Samurai Champloo and Afro Samurai, you got a lot of like maybe soulful, maybe kind of a classic feel of hip hop. With Primus, we're going to push the envelope a little bit with the sonic appeal as far as incorporating some trap beats, some hardcore boom bap stuff, some really soulful stuff like you'd hear artists like Currency and artists like that do. So the soundtrack is going to be extremely well-rounded, and especially with the score. Like there'll be fight scenes where you hear like rambunctious trap beats and stuff like that that'll add a totally different dynamic to what your average fight scene in anime is going to look like, or an action sequence, or even just a transition. So it's definitely a new thing that we're experimenting with Primus.
Awesome. You brought up Samurai Champloo. Did you check out Shinichiro Watanabe's take on, what was it? He's coming out with a new short.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Yeah. Did y'all check it out?
We just actually had a company argument.
Oh, really? What y'all think?
I haven't watched it yet. I plan to, but if he has his hands on it, I know it's going to be dope, man. That guy,
Fire.
Everything he touches is dope. So I expect nothing less from him.
I checked it out. Yeah, I loved it. So
it was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing. I was able to watch it, and I said, "Holy cow!" Like, for it to be it was just right to the point, man. And if you're a Blade Runner fan, it's like super refreshing seeing where they're going with that franchise going forward. But the animation, the for it to be so short, the story was just it was perfectly translated, man. I really dug it.
Yeah, I wanted to see more, but I don't think he's gonna do more. Shinichiro does shorts, like even his animes are like 24 episodes and that's it. So
yep, that's all you get. He's like, nope, that's all. That's about it.
Well, it's kind of interesting that they're doing that, because I think for like the Matrix, they had like the Animatrix, which was kind of a prequel to the Matrix, but then also for Batman, there was like the Gotham Knights, which was a pretty cool series, and that was all like Japanese animation style too, which is really cool. But so get back to the question. So can you break down the relationship between the two main characters, Seven and Selva, and how the relationship will develop as the series progresses? It's probably
I guess me and Corey can both
we can answer that together.
Chime in on that. At the heart of it, man, it's pretty much you have these two kids who've basically lost everything, and they've witnessed it with their own eyes. So not only are they growing up, they also have to learn how to process these feelings, and their personalities are so different that you get kind of these mini clashes, not necessarily them falling out, but they're both learning how to process based upon how they perceive the world and how they perceive their father. Really, they both have.
I think piggybacking off of what Marcus is saying, the thing that I wanted to kind of concentrate on is the stages of grief, and how someone who's 12 and 13 with these people who need you to be something that you're not ready to be yet, and how that influences your decision making, and how you're dealing and coping with grief, all the while people are telling you that this is the path you have to go down, but you've witnessed with your own eyes what it has done to your entire family. So do you follow the path to help the people, or do you live your own life? And that's the question that I'm presenting to the audience in the eyes of Silva and Seven.
It's vague.
And not to give away too much of the plot, but also just to finish up their point, as the story progresses and they go through these different worlds, we want these different worlds to represent the different challenges they face, not just physical challenges, but those internal conflicts as well. So as they progress through these worlds, you get to grow with them and actually see them grow.
Awesome. Yeah, I see the relationship sounds a little like Naruto and Sasuke-esque, how they go through the way they deal with their grief, two different ways, Kind
of, but
obviously different.
Also, you have a little element. slightly, but not much. But kind of like Inuyasha and Sasamaru also to a degree.
Yeah.
Not to the point of hating each other, but you have those little mini clashes where they will butt heads.
It was really interesting because in the trailer you have on your Kickstarter, you showed them kind of fighting against each other, and I just thought that was cool because it starts off with them as kids fighting each other, and then eventually they're in adults and they're kind of sparring at that point, which it looked amazing. The animation,
growing pains, man. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
you want to illustrate those growing pains.
Yeah, we all have brothers and sisters, and we all bump heads, but we're still like family when it comes down to the end of things.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So you're recently, I guess your Kickstarter campaign wrapped, and it wasn't fully funded. Are you currently still seeking ways to fund the project and push forward?
No doubt.
Awesome. That's good to hear. We definitely look forward to doing that and see if there's any other way we can help this project really get off the floor. Because I'm glad, because I was kind of worried, when I first saw it, and like 3 days ago it ended, I was like, man, I really wanted to see this being made. But as long as it's still the fires are still there, I'm looking forward to it.
We can't really talk about much, but I can say that we have some things going on, and when it drops, just be ready.
It's going to be history making what we're working on. So definitely.
Good. I'm really glad that we have, there's more and more of these diverse, companies coming up that are making new characters. One of my pet peeves is seeing like these new, these bigger companies that have these knockoff characters that happen to be just like a different ethnicity. And it's like, you lazy fucks, can you just make a new character? You know what I mean? So that's why I'm so glad that we're seeing stuff like this.
I appreciate it, man. It's one of those things where you're either gonna stay the course or push the envelope, and over here we're trying to push the envelope at Noir with all new characters, our new character archetypes. So we can really kick down some doors where we have Japanese animators and artists and just artists worldwide just saying, hey, we want a character that looks like somebody from Space Pop or Primus 7 or any of our titles or Arms of the Dragon, where they're modeling characters after a foundation that we built. So this is definitely it's humbling to be kind of a pioneer in that sense.
All right.
So, Will, we have mentioned how, the music was the thing that kind of caught our ears to make us walk over to the booth. Like, what are some of your influences on creating the music for this anime?
Absolutely. I think some of my influences are just I've been watching anime for so long. Marcus and I are the same age, so we go all the way back to where Ninja Scrolls was a thing, Kira, Go-Go 13, stuff like that. And I will always be like, man, I wonder what it'd be like to be listening to just a different type of music while scene was transitioning or during an action scene, and what type of how would it appeal to people sonically to hear some straight up hip hop backdrops in a lot of this anime content. So I would actually make a lot of AVIs just on my own free time. Like I'd find a fight clip from Naruto or something and drop some beats in there and circulate it around the internet, and everybody would be going crazy. And then it really came to fruition when Adult Swim reached out to me to commission some music for a lot of
that's dope.
Shorts in between what they would do. Like I don't know if you're watching Boondocks or something comes on, and you know how they have those little 15-second things in between before the commercial break-ins. And I did a lot of beats for them, so it kind of just was a segue for me to say, okay, how can I take this a step further to the point where I'm actually implementing these types of tracks into an actual score. And then Noir came along, and it was like, here's the vehicle, let's hop on board and let's go.
Nice. Do you have any influences outside of anime, manga, and American animation?
It's an open question?
Yeah, open question.
Yeah, I think so.
Could you repeat that for me again, though?
Yeah. Do you have any influences outside of anime, manga, and American animation, like film or anything like that?
Comics?
For me, as a kid, man, I started out with comics. My my mom never would buy them. so when she was grocery shopping, I'd just sit in the aisle or whatever and read comics. And I got to the point where I would swap comics back and forth with my friends or whatnot. So for me, the first titles I fell in love with were like all the X-Men titles and the spin-offs like X Factor, X-Force, New Warriors, probably my favorite. I was just in love with like the Night Thrasher character and Silhouette and Nova and Speedball. I guess because it was just a younger generation of heroes, and I kind of related to it. And then as I got into high school, really literature also. I had a 9th grade English teacher who was like, she played no games. Like at the beginning of every class, like the little American classics, the little small like illustrated ones.
Yeah, I remember those.
She would make us read those. So I started reading stuff like Oliver Twist and then Moby Dick and A Tale of Two Cities and Beowulf and like all of that mixed with mythology and stuff. It kind of like opened me up to like a fantasy world. And that kind of sparked everything for me.
Yeah. Piggyback off what Marcus was saying, I mean, it's kind of the same story with me, but I mean, his influences were Marvel, mine were mostly DC. And it's still DC to this day. As of right now, I collect a lot of creator-owned series from Image, Boom, IDW, Dark Horse, and things like that. And as far as like American cinema, with the title that I'm currently working on that releases tomorrow, Playboy, it's kind of like Quentin Tarantino style on steroids, if that's possible. But that's some of my influences when it comes to writing and, you know, directing the course of some of the titles.
It's crazy because you can't tell from the stuff that I write, but I've always loved the dystopian themes. Yeah. Steampunk, anything that's retro-futuristic, Afro-futuristic, all those different type of themes I love.
Did y'all check out Children of Ether?
I haven't.
Okay. Yeah, it's on.
I've been so busy writing, man, that I haven't had a lot of time to check out anything.
Okay, I think it's not even a full episode. I think it's maybe 13 minutes on Crunchyroll, but it's got
it's 13.
It was an interesting start. I mean, I want to see more, but it might be right up your alley because it's dystopian future. So it seemed pretty cool in the beginning, but I'm not sure where they're going to go with it. I'm not sure when episode 2 is dropping. So
yeah.
Actually, that brings me along to, I guess, another sort of like a question. So now that Crunchyroll has, you know, a project like Children of Ether, was made by I think it was LaShawn Thomas, right? This guy who made that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does that give you guys hope to potentially get on their platform one day? I mean, obviously you were at their expo, but
like we said earlier, we can't talk about certain things right now, but yeah, I mean, we're excited to put our foot into the anime industry and get our name out there and show people what proper representation actually looks like. Yeah. And provide them with a great story, with a great soundtrack, with story elements that you have never seen before in anime or manga form.
And I think the main thing is, regardless of the vehicle that we choose or end up with, it has to be something that aligns with our vision and what we're trying to do. We don't want to sign anything or become a part of any vehicle that takes away our creativity or tries to make us conform to the norm, because that's why we started this, so we can tell the type of stories we want to tell that were all inclusive. We're not. I don't want this to be taken the wrong way. We're not just a black manga anime company. We make content for everyone. Yeah. So when you read our content, it's all inclusive. So we want to make sure we stick to that vision and that we just keep telling dope stories and creating dope art.
Yeah, I mean, so for us as well, I mean, at the end of the day, a good story is a good story. It doesn't really matter who happens to be
exactly.
in it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I mean, because
we look at it.
Yeah, when I was growing up, you know, reading, you know, Iron Man comics, like I didn't care that he was white. He just happened to be a rich ass dude that had dope stuff that I wanted, you know. So
yeah,
yep.
Guys, I want to be like David Chappelle.
That's exactly why I like them, right?
Yeah.
So quick. Kind of off the list question. So recently there's been kind of a debate about exactly what is anime. Like if there's animation coming from America, is it still considered anime? So would you, I mean, how would you respond to these like kind of stories that are going back and forth saying that if it's not coming from Japan, it's not anime?
This is the analogy I use at Crunchyroll. We had a panel and we talked about this, a diversity panel. And around the world, hip hop was created in America, correct?
That's correct.
Bronx, New York, 1978.
Bronx, New York, right?
Get him, Marcus.
So if I go to London and I listen to Stormzy, right? Is he not hip hop?
Yeah, it's a good point.
If I go to Japan, it's still hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
If I listen to Afrobeat in West Africa, it's still hip hop, right? So why is it if this art form, take away the word anime, if the same art form is made in France, it's made in America, it's made in Australia, if it's the same art form, why can't I call it anime?
Yeah, I agree with that. Especially like I think the thing that most people don't understand about most animation is that almost every single animation that you see in America is made in Korea anyway. You know what I mean? So it's like to put labels on it. It's not even really that necessary. I mean, as long as you like it, you like it. So,
but I think it boils down really. I understand the pushback, but it boils down to the fear of cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think the key is whenever I do anything, I make it known to point out who my influences are, and I always pay respect to those influences. The first thing that brought me into anime was Vampire Hunter D. I almost lost my shit at Crunchyroll when Yoshitaka was there.
Yeah, same here. I was like, holy crap, I gotta escape this.
Fangirling.
So I always pay respects to the people that influence me. I think the difference is that aesthetic-wise, art-wise, yes, you're going to see those anime influences, but I also have to infuse my cultural influences as well, those things that I enjoy. So like with Will, when he puts his music touch on it, and growing up, I talked about the literature influences. I also love like writers like George R.R. Martin, Chinua Achebe, Octavia Butler. So all those different things I'm going to infuse in my anime storytelling, but that doesn't make it any less anime.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think to me, I think the only time, quote unquote cultural appropriation is really a problem is that if you don't have any of the, I guess, prerequisite knowledge of that culture. So if you don't know anything about that culture, you don't care anything about that culture, and you're just wearing, their thing or doing whatever, I think that can become obviously kind of offensive. But if you pay your respect and actually know what you're talking about and staying respectful, I don't think it's a problem at all. It's actually the American way. We're a mixing pot, so.
Absolutely.
So, keeping on the animation, I guess, just a conversation. What do you guys think about this new cell shading thing in Japan? Like, cell shading versus hand drawn. This is brought up to me through Berserk. Because I don't know if you guys ever watched Berserk, right. But the old ones were, they were normal anime style. The new one is all cell shaded. What are your thoughts on cell shaded versus like the hand drawn look?
I'm old school, man. The hand-drawn look is always going to appeal to me more than the cel-shading look. But I think it's a step in the right direction as far as getting more content out there, man. It looks like it's much easier to produce. You know what I mean? And it's definitely smoother, but it's just something about the grit. It's like listening to I guess Lil Uzi versus listening to Enter the Wu-Tang is just
it's the new generation.
You see the essence of it, you know what I mean? And it's like I like it, but I don't love it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things.
Yeah, I wonder what's going to be like in the future. It's like people arguing that, color versus, black and white. I think that's what we sound like right now, because we're just, right. If you come from an older generation, you're just used to something looking a certain way. We'll probably get used to it.
Absolutely.
So I actually had a question on your Kickstarter. You had some swag on there, some merch and gear. How does that fit into your marketing for your manga and for your anime?
I could kind of speak on behalf of Vaughn for this. So I'd be doing a lot of speaking by speaking on behalf of Vaughn. So let me try to give you the condensed version. Shout out to my man Vaughn. But Vaughn's vision for that, man, he's really a creative genius, man. I think the main thing is for cosplay, right? Mm-hmm. Vaughn's main goal with that was I feel like he was like, man, I would cosplay every day of my life if it was dope enough to wear every day. Like, you can't go to work or you can't go to school dressed as One Punch Man. It's just, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You can't do it. I would try, but
balls hanging out.
Right, you know what I'm saying? So, but realistically, I mean, hey, if I could show up dressed like Piccolo, I'd do it. Let's go. You can't do it. You know what I'm saying? You can't do it. So it's like, how can we take, you know, fashion and involve that in what we're trying to do as well? So what we're doing is fusing what the characters wear in Primus, and I'm pretty sure it's going to transcend all things noir as far as character designs and aesthetics, and as far as that goes, you'd be able to literally the cool stuff you're going to see in Primus and stuff like the hoodie that Seven wears and stuff like that, the pants, silverware, you are going to be able to buy that and wear it to school, and people are going to be like, that shit is dope, where can I buy it? And they're not going to look at it as you're cosplaying, even though you are, and like totally nerd out and be like, I'm cosplaying at school, I can't believe this shit. And it's like, but really it's streetwear. So that's where we're going to bridge the gap with that. And so if any of the guys have anything else to add to that.
Yeah, I would say it's just a matter of us trying to be seamless and piecing together all our different influences.
That's
like
right.
we grew up anime fans, but we also grew up hip hop fans. Like, I'm down south, so UGK for life right here. A-Ball, JG,
yes,
you know, Outkast.
Mm-hmm.
So the hip hop influences, the art influences. We're trying to bring all this stuff together seamlessly, basically. So when you see Primus, none of it seems or looks forced. You can tell it all comes natural, it all fits together. And it's a representation of the culture. When I say the culture, I think one thing that people fail to realize is anime itself fuses together so many different elements. Like Will talked about Samurai Champloo. You can't tell me that's not hip hop.
Of course.
Top to bottom. So we want our work to kind of be a microcosm of that all the time.
Absolutely. And I actually met Nujabi's, man, and it was one of the coolest experiences I had. And if there ever was a Japanese version of Jay Dilla, it was that guy. Like, mannerisms, everything. And I was just like, dude, what you're doing is groundbreaking. And to this day, man, like, I still jam the soundtracks from Samurai Champloo.
So do I. It's Shiki no Uwata, I think, is the outro song. I bump that song all the time.
All day long. All day long.
The Four Seasons song. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
So we're gonna wrap soon, but I'm gonna ask you two questions. But the first one, I'm gonna ask you can think about it, because that'll be the last one. All right. So think of your top 3 animes. All right.
Ooh.
So just keep it in your head. All right. So Arthur Grove, who's the main villain in the anime, he looks like a pretty dope villain. Is he gonna be a villain that we're gonna have some sympathy for, or is he just gonna be some grimy ass dude that you're gonna hate? Because I like it both ways.
I like that picture of him with the head in his hand.
Yeah.
The way Arthur Grove is going to be presented to the reader is, it's going to be a shade of gray. It's going to be a reason why he is doing what he's doing. Personally, I don't like to write characters that are black or white. You know, it's just like, this is what I am, and I'm just going to be this one thing and be one-dimensional. I don't like writing those type of characters. So as the story of Primus progresses, you're going to get the different flavors of why he's doing what he's doing. He sees himself as a hero, as, I don't want what happened to me to happen to anyone else, so I'm going to take this role of dictator to make sure that doesn't happen. All the while he's ruining people's lives, but he thinks he's protecting them all the same.
Awesome. Sounds like layered villain.
It sounds like somebody. No.
It's like, I kind of think Arthur is, if you could correlate it to anything, he'd be like Fidel Castro-esque, where the people who understand what he's doing Hey, Viva Fidel, you know. But then there's people that's like, I hate this son of a bitch with every molecule in my body. It's going to be a little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? So,
awesome.
As you're watching and keeping up with the manga, you're going to have it. We're like, hey, I think I kind of like Arthur, man. You know what?
Yeah, you're gonna I get
some good points.
I understand him. Yeah,
right, exactly. So it's a little paradox actually of him being the antagonist, but you may start to feel like in certain spots he may be a protagonist in certain aspects of things. So
actually, this is a question that I kind of just thought about. So are you guys going to do like the traditional Japanese route where you release the manga first and then develop the anime afterwards to follow the manga?
Touch and go.
Yeah, yeah. Touch and go. Like we talked about earlier. There's certain aspects of what we're doing now that we can't talk about.
Yeah, I understand.
So, yeah.
I think to make it short, certain titles were just solely focused on manga, and there are a couple of others that we have pinpointed that we have tapped that if we can animate, these are the ones that we want to pursue first.
Okay, like certain story arcs you want to have animated, like for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Will you guys go the traditional anime route and do a bunch of fillers or fillers in between?
No, I hate filler, man. Me and Corey talk about this all the time. If I have any say so, no filler, man. I hate fucking filler. Excuse me for cursing, man.
No, you can curse, man.
You can say what the fuck you want, man. We don't give a fuck our shit. Cocksucker motherfucker. Now,
come on, before we over in Noir, before we give you any filler, we'll just have it in and come up with something else dope before we give you a shit ton of filler, man. That's how we roll.
Okay. Well, I guess filler. I guess it's a good problem to have, right? Like if people are demanding so much content that you have to make filler. I mean, it kind of sucks for like the hardcore fans, but it's good for you as a company that people want to watch even your filler. So.
Yeah,
I would rather take the Oda approach like he does with the manga. Like honestly, if you're into One Piece at all, Oda's backstory is more than enough for quote unquote filler.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
Just don't go to Bleach route and like go back to the main arc and then go back to fillers all of a sudden.
In the middle of a fight.
Don't mention Bleach. They butchered Bleach.
That's a sore subject for everybody.
Oh man, they lost me. I said, I want all those. I need all that time back.
Yeah.
I need that.
I still watched it all. Even the horrible last story arc. I still watch it.
Well, they're supposedly bringing it back to correct the final arc, I've heard, but that's another subject. That's save for our podcast.
I'm done with it. They give it to someone else.
They lost me.
All right, so about to wrap soon. What are your top 3 animes?
Man, that's tough, man. My top 2 are easy. Yu Yu Hakusho is 1A.
Ooh, that's tough.
Classic.
One Piece is 1B. One Piece is my favorite. I only go Yu Yu Hakusho because I came across it first. But Yu Yu Hakusho and One Piece, that's 1 and 2. I would say third, not necessarily because of the story, but Lupin the Third is a favorite for me.
Oh,
simply because of the style, man.
Yeah.
Lupin was so clean. Like Lupin was fresh to death.
super dapper.
so like his whole squad. I mean, you have Lupin, who's a pretty much polymath, even though he downplays it.
Right.
Then you have the gunman and you have the swordsman. 2 bad women chasing you. Hey, that's a lifestyle.
For my top 3, my number 1 is Rurouni Kenshin.
Oh, mine too.
2 is Trigun, and 3 is kind of like, it's 2 of them is Outlaw Star and Cowboy Bebop.
I knew you were going that way.
I knew it was coming. Can't go wrong though. You can't go wrong.
Nah, you can't.
You know, sorry, Kenshin is actually the reason why anime has fillers now. I don't know if you guys knew that. It's because they went past the manga and everybody hated it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Will, you got the last one.
Oh man, dude, I got to keep it old school. So, number 3, Vampire Hunter D.
Oh, nice.
Number 2, it's going to be Go-Go 13. And number 1, Fist of the North Star.
Nice.
Yeah.
Worst live action ever made. You ever see the live action of Fist of the North Star?
Yeah.
The American one? Oh my god, it was so bad.
It was right up there with the Street Fighter.
Yeah, oh my god.
That was like the beginning of terrible live-action remakes of manga or of animes. The latest one was what was it, Death Note?
Oh god.
Oh man.
I was like, how the hell are you gonna have it in Seattle? I was like, the whole point of having it in Japan is there's like no crime in Japan.
Right. It's in Seattle where people carjacking shit.
Yeah, it's easy to kill a bunch of people in Seattle. They're all depressed anyway because there's no sunshine.
Right. It's always raining and shit, man.
Yeah.
Like, if anything, it's gonna be hella crimes.
Nothing else to do.
Good grief.
Yeah, that was awesome.
All right, so where can our listeners find you out on the interwebs?
NoirCaeser.com. We also have a Twitter at Noir Caeser and also Instagram at Noir Caeser. And you can also come to our Facebook, facebook.com/Noir Caeser LLC.
Awesome. Will and Marcus, you guys have your own individuals or no?
Man, you don't want to follow me, man. I'm a family guy, man. So I'm a full-time teacher and a dad of a 4-year-old and 19-year-old. So if you go on my IG, man, it's just pictures of me being
A dad.
being a jerk, and being a dad. But if you want to delve into that, you can follow me at Dap Styles on IG. On Facebook, I just use my regular name, man, Marcus Quabana Johnson. And you can catch me on any two of those sites, man.
Okay, cool.
No doubt. And you can find me anywhere. He said Marcus does not tweet. I'm like, I'm trying to find him on Twitter. No trace of him on Twitter, man. I'm at Ill Brown everywhere. ILLBROWN everywhere. You can find me. It's not hard. You can check some of my content. I also produce for Team Backpack as well. So we have a ton of dope stuff. And actually, one of our artists that we're pushing pretty hard right now is G Yamazawa. He is super dope. He is from Tokyo. Super dope artist. So you will be hearing him on the Primus soundtrack as well.
Cool. All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you for your time. It's been a great interview.
All right,
Appreciate you guys, man.
Yep. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.